You're live with Chris Chamasiros. Welcome to my show, Unbreakable. Today, we're going to be talking about Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon. Just they're supporting illegal immigration and they're going against ICE, and their take couldn't be any stupider than what it is. Sometimes I think Joe Rogan, he turns the corner and then he comes out and he says things like this. Excuse me. Listen, illegal immigration is destroying the United States of America. Look at all of our inner cities. Look at the prices on everything. The reason why housing is so expensive, healthcare, everything is because we have 55 million illegals in the country. And when you give stuff away for free, it pushes the price up for everybody else. For anybody to say that all this mass illegal immigration is good for the United States of America, I have no clue what planet that you are living on. And only Democrats and liberals and Don Lemon and the rest of the idiots would blame ICE agents, federal agents, for doing their job. And I have bad news for Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon and the rest of these idiots. Coming to the United States of America illegally is a crime. You don't need to rob a 7-Eleven when you get here. You don't need to commit any crimes. If you're here illegally, that's enough. And I heard Joe Rogan, oh, this is the Gestapo. And we're just going to stop and frisk people on the street and ask them for papers. Oh, cry me a river. Cry me a river. Oh, no. Let me tell you some of my own experience. You know how many times I had to do a workout late in the park, late at night, doing pull ups, whatever, dips, push ups, running. And the cops, they'll roll up on me and they'll be like, hey, this is a little odd that you're out here at this time of night. I'm like, well, it's the only time I can get here. I can't just keep skipping workouts. Oh, we're going to need to see your paperwork. Make sure you're not, running from the, yeah, no, you know what? Here, no problem. So if that's too much for Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon, you know what I suggest? Take off your pink panties. You're Mr. Testosterone Rogan. I expect a little more from you. Every country in the world has a border. Every country in the world. Matter of fact, the United States military will be used to secure other people's borders. And why our troops are stationed around the world for years securing other countries' borders, our soldiers come home to a third world country. Every single city in America right now is struggling and suffering from crime. And if you're going to say that illegals don't have their hand in that, I don't know what to tell you. And here's another thing. Every time somebody talks about illegal immigration, right away it goes to Hispanics. And fine, there are a lot of illegal Hispanics in America. There's also Asians, there are also Europeans, there's also Africans. It's not just Hispanics. And you know how many terrorists crossed through that border? Just a couple months ago, the FBI in New York stopped some type of like an attack on cell phones that could have knocked out 400,000 cell phones, some type of cyber attack. You have all these foreign nationals entering our country. Our government has no effing clue where they are. And you got idiots like Renee Gold or whatever the hell her name is. She decides that she's going to impede ICE from doing their job, and she gets killed and everybody loses their mind. And here's the thing about her that really pisses me off. Everybody's acting like this is a one-time deal, that she just showed up and whatever. Every place ICE went, she just happened to show up. She wanted to impede their flow. She thought that she was going to do lawless things, do whatever she wanted to do, and there'd be no consequences. See, this is the Democratic way. This is the liberal way. Oh, the rules don't apply to us because our emotions control the day. I got bet. ICE isn't doing enough, if you ask me. 55 million illegals. We've only deported 300,000 in Trump's first year. At that rate, it's only 1.2 million, 1.4 million. How the hell are you going to get 55 million illegal people out of the country? And if you go to any other country in the world, Rogan, guess what? If you go to any country, the police there will roll up on you and say, show us your paperwork. And if you don't, you get arrested. You get taken to a processing center. You get sent back home. And that's the way it should be in the United States of America. The local police, just like if they pull me over and I don't have my license, I get arrested, I go to jail, whatever it is, they take my car. This is the only country in the world that puts up with the bullshit. Oh, you're not legal, no problem. Oh, you're driving, you don't have a license, no problem. You don't have insurance, oh, nobody gives a shit. And by the way, here's some free healthcare, here's some free housing. Have 7 children. Everybody talks about Americans don't have kids anymore. Well, who can afford them? And you know why all these foreigners have all these kids? Because they're not paying for them. They're not paying for them. And before I start the video, Rogan, I want to ask you something. Why did you leave California again? Oh, that's right, because of the crime, the lawlessness, the illegal immigration. And guess what? A lot of those illegals in California, they're all part of gangs. You have the cartels operating on American soil in California, in Northern California, and Southern California. Illegals, millions of them, Chicago, everywhere. Every major city right now in America is struggling. And President Trump, he's got $1 billion for Israel. He's got billions for Ukraine. He's got billions for this one. He's got billions for that one. But we can't take care of our own problems in our own country. Illegal immigration is not good for America. It's not. Look what it's doing to Europe. Look what it's doing to Greece, Rome, Ireland, you name it. The UK, those places are unrecognizable. And what's the number one crime that went through the roof with all that mass illegal immigration or just people showing up on boats? The number one crime that went through the roof, sexual assault. You can't even let your daughter walk outside in those countries. And in America, these illegals are bankrupting the hospitals, the school system. Go to California. Why do you think California is billions of dollars in debt? You know what? Why do you think Gavin Newsom has to raise taxes, excuse me, through the roof? You want to know why? Because he gives his voters, don't tell me that illegals don't vote. They vote all the time. In blue states, it's illegal to even ask them for an ID to vote. So this is why Democrats do that, because they need voters. They don't care if they're legal, they don't care if they're illegal. Oh, we're going to give you free stuff, and in return you vote for us. And Rogan left a state like that. But now he's got a problem with ICE. Law enforcement that's doing their job. I don't even think they're doing their job. I wouldn't even give them a C at this point. There's 50 million people in the country illegally who don't follow the law, who drink and drive, who kill people, who sexually assault people, who we shouldn't have one American citizen that's a victim to an illegal alien's crime. If you don't like the word alien, too bad. By law, if you're in the country illegally, you are a legal alien. You're not undocumented. You never had papers in the first place. I know this is hard for the liberal brain to accept, but I'm tired of the bullshit. And I'm tired of people playing the fence like, well, I'm for America and they love American. Joe Rogan, he's a billionaire. See, Joe's not going to have to deal with the stuff that the average guy is going to have to deal with. He's just not. Just he's got too much money to deal with it. So when I hear Rogan and we keep talking about too. Nick Fuentes is a Fed. This one's a Fed. That one's a Fed. If anybody looks like a Fed, it's Tim Dillon. He looks just like a Fed. Like the Feds are probably cracking up, laughing. Like, look at this idiot that we trotted out before everybody, and they just eat up every word that this idiot is saying. He looks like an idiot. He talks like an idiot. He's an idiot. Like, just look at him. He's 40 years old. He looks like he's like 65 years old. You want to talk about somebody that has a look of a Fed? It's Tim Dillon. Let's jump into the video. Why'd you leave California again, Rogan? Oh, let me guess. It was low taxes. It was safe for my children to grow up in that state. You left California because it's totally out of control, filled with illegals, mass illegals. Taxes are through the roof. Crime is through the roof. And mass illegal immigration has a huge part of that, Rogan. I mean, you have 50, you don't think that these illegals run from the cops? You don't think they try to fight the cops? That girl that got killed, don't play stupid games. You won't win stupid prizes. If she acted like a normal human being and was protesting from the sidewalk with a sign, stop ICE. I hate ICE. I should be arrested. She'd still be alive. But hey, I'm going to use my car to impede traffic, to impede ICE officers who the tension there is through the roof because they think everybody's trying to kill them. But somehow, some way, she's the victim in all this. And somehow, some way, we're supposed to turn a blind eye to Joe Biden, the scumbag that left 20 million people into the country. And the FBI has already come out and confirmed that a lot of those people were terrorists on the known terrorist watch list. And you don't ever think that's going to come back to bite America on the ass? You think we're immune to a terrorist attack from the inside? One of those MP, whatever they are, turns off all the electricity. All you ever hear about is we're security, safety, safety, safety. How can you be safe how can you even be a country? You're not a country without a border. So this whole thing that yeah, we're we're all about safety. The United States of America, you're safety first, and you have a wide open border, and you have millions of people that. So now the border is secure, and Trump went, "Oh, I want a pat on the back because the border is secure." But what about the 55 million people inside the country? It's as simple as this: show your paperwork. If you're good, you don't have a problem. If you're not good, you get arrested on the spot. You get sent to a processing center, and within 24 hours, you're out of here. And yes, it is that simple. It is that simple. See, that's what has to happen. Adults, not children, not emotional, weak people. When you have major problems and you have to come up with responsible adult answers, adults have to handle this situation. Obviously, President Trump is not handling it. He's not doing a good job at all, if you ask me, at all. Zero. I give him an F on illegal immigration. Because everywhere I go, I see illegals. They drive with. It's just amazing to me. Like the cops, if I go to the store late at night, they'll pull me over. Oh, well, it's 2 a.m. It's kind of late. The average person's in bed. Blah blah blah. And then I'll look to my left, and some guy's driving with an Arkansas plate that doesn't even live in my state. And like 99.9% of the time, just looking at it's illegal. But yeah, they got no problems with that. The cops are almost like, it's just too difficult to deal with these illegals who are driving without driver's license. Just, I'm going to let them go, and I'm going to bother the American that pays his taxes and actually pays my salary, because it's easier to give him a ticket since he's legal. Welcome to America in 2026. That's why I say liberalism is a mental disorder. Let's see what Tim Dillon had to say.
These like ICE raids, which are kind of performative and cruel. And
no, they are performative and cruel. Now, why do I say performative? Because
I had to let Jimmy Dore do a reaction to Jimmy Dore, because sometimes when I use Rogan stuff, it gets copyrighted. So since he already did it, it's not copyrighted. I'll try to fast forward it.
Notice they're not going. They're doing is, and they arrest core MAGA wars than anybody.
Come on,
expensive.
Or they're also paying $146 million
and a bit psychotic, which are kind of
still, and they can't vote that one down in Congress.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to what Tim says.
Okay, these like ICE raids, which are kind of performative and cruel and a bit psychotic, are
it's psychotic to get people out of your country who broke the law to get here. Yeah, it's psychotic. Okay.
Not doing this administration any favors. I think they're making people less concerned with immigration enforcement, because they're equating all immigration enforcement to these random brutal raids where you see people that have been here 30 years like hogtied and thrown into a van.
Tim, I got a question for you. We have the highest incarceration rate in the world. Do you care about Americans being put in jail for like the stupidest? Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Nobody ever does. It's like, oh, tough luck. You should know better. Oh, wait, illegal's crime. It doesn't actually count. Being illegal, no, it's not a crime. No. Just do whatever you want. Matter of fact, here, you know what? Here's my house. Here's my money. Here's my wallet. Just do whatever you want. That's what we should do. And Democrats are doing this so they could dump, 1 million illegals in every state, so they will win every time in a tidal wave and a landslide. And let's talk about the political ramifications of illegal immigration.
He's.
Then you have I that have been here 30 less concerned with immigration enforcement because they're equating all immigration enforcement to these random brutal raids where you see people that have been here 30 years like hogtied and thrown into a van.
He's got more to say.
Then you have ICE. And who the hell are they? We don't even know. These are people that like,
dude, who the hell are you? Look at you. Like, look at you. What is I'm still confused. Like, the first time I seen him, I didn't even see him talk. I kind of just scrolling through YouTube and I'm looking at him like before I even kind of like not liked what he had to say. I'm like, who is this person? He had a mink coat on, like like the feds the feds probably sit back and just laugh. Like they fed us this slop. People eat it up what he says.
answer
The backstory of being a comedian. I gotta watch that. I guarantee it's not funny.
an ad on Craigslist. I mean, you don't even, I mean, these people, who is joining ICE? I mean, these people are so shot. The people who are joining ICE are so shot.
The people that are joining ICE are shot. Have you looked in the mirror? You're 40 years old, dude. You look like you're 65. You're telling other that they're shot. Have you seen the way that you dress sometimes? Have you seen the way that you look? You're criticizing federal officers that want to get criminals off of our streets. Let's not forget the rapists that they get off the streets on a daily basis. But hey, let's listen to Tim Dillon here. Tim Dillon couldn't do 5 push-ups and run for 5 minutes straight. I can guarantee you that.
You know, they don't have anything going on. These are people.
They don't have, I got to stop it. Oh yeah, Tim, what do you got going on? Somehow you were promoted to be a good comedian. I wonder who backed this play for Tim Dillon to be somewhat successful. Because look at him. I mean, look at this clown. The feds understand that a lot of people can relate to this look. So that's why they roll a clown out like this. Again, online people are, Nick Fuentes is a Fed. This person's a Fed. If anybody looked like a Fed, it's Tim Dillon.
Who like a mole throughout because they couldn't do like security at a mall. They I don't know what they did, but they're out now. They maybe attacked a child or something. So I don't know who's,
So now federal officers, ICE officers attack children. Maybe that's what you're into, Tim. Sure looks like it by the looks of things. Because I don't know what female would want to talk to you other than, if you paid her some of that money that you got.
they got ICE in there.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Commercial?
Hello.
What the hell is going on?
Hang on, here's one more.
I don't believe the cop was justified in shooting her 3 times in the face. By the way, I've always believed this, and this is something that I've caught heat for, but I've literally believed it since I'm a kid. I don't believe you should ever shoot someone in the face more than once. It's seriously.
Oh, that's so funny, Tim. Then maybe she shouldn't have showed up week after week, day after day, trying to get in the way of ICE doing their job. I mean, the liberal mind is just like, it's just so unreasonable. I have no patience at this point, like zero. Life is stressful as it is. Like, you got to pay your bills. You got to go to work. You got to do this. You got to do that. So the idiocy, I have like zero time for, and you like, forget it. If you are like, not a rational person, it just doesn't go good between me or you at all.
I just think it's ridiculous. So that they did that, and they, these are not well-trained law enforcement people in ICE right now. We are taking people that did backyard wrestling.
Don't you love all these comedians? They think they're so funny. Like, dude, you have no awareness. Like, have you looked in the mirror like what you look like? I'll keep saying it over and over. You're attacking people that are hardworking, that are risking their lives, that are putting their lives in danger for the benefit of our country, and you're mocking them. You're calling them all types of names. You're about 400 pounds. You're 40 years old. You look like you're 65. You're not funny at all. And I just don't get it. So, but whatever. I'm sure sooner or later his real backstory will come out too.
I mean, the people that are in ICE right now are, I mean, this is your cousin who, like, was in backyard wrestling. Like, this is tough. This is not the cream of the crop. You know the guys that kidnapped Maduro, like Delta Force, Navy SEALs? This is not them. This is not the Delta Force, Navy SEAL people.
How would you know that, Tim? How do you know any of these people? Have you went on a ride with them to see what they deal with? The stress that they're under? Because, it's not as simple as they could just take out their weapon and fire it. Their life is on the line. Why thousands of lunatics and, people that are taking hormone blockers are totally insane. I mean, look what they did to Charlie Kirk, supposedly. These people are totally insane. All the protesters are insane. Super high stress situation. And this fat blob is ridiculing hardworking ICE agents. He wouldn't last 5 minutes before he shit on himself, literally.
People. This is people that, like, this is people in their third grade report card. The teacher wrote that has violent tendencies.
Yeah, as he drinks his drink that has 7,000 grams of sugar in it, and he went from 421 to 424 pounds, that is.
I mean, this is not, it just is what it is.
It is what it is. So, even Joe Rogan got in on it. Let's listen.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatch.
We don't, Joe? Every other country in the world does it. Every other country in the world's military. You could be on vacation. We'll roll up on you, especially when you're American. They love to do it to Americans. You know what? Because they assume you have money. And if you don't have your paperwork right, they'll be like, give me a couple $100s. Are you outraged about that, Joe, as you wear your camo and live in Texas? Do you care about Americans? Safety or, the double standard? It seems like there's this huge double standard where all the other countries in the world can dump off their problems. They're maniacs, they're murderers, they're rapists, they're child, abusers. And they can just take all these people and say, you know what? I mean, Venezuela opened their prisons and dumped all their problems into America. And Rogan and Tim Dillon, the clown, don't think that this is an issue. So, if I'm Trump, I'm telling Venezuela, I'm telling all these other countries that dump off their problems here, especially China. I don't know what Trump's problem is with China. Because China makes all the fentanyl that comes into our country, comes through, and it's killed thousands of our people. I would tell that fat piece of shit from China, you want to mess with me? You sure? Because it's not going to go good for you, fatty. If you thought what we did to Maduro is bad, that's just a warm-up. All this fentanyl that's killed our people. If Trump had a real beef with somebody, it should be China. What, you're going to back down from China because they're aggressive? I wouldn't be backing down from anybody. Nobody. Zero. Nobody. We're the most lethal fighting force in the world, the American military. And we take shit from China, Russia, and Mexico through an open border. Drugs, human trafficking, child trap, every problem in the world goes through the border. And Rogan here and Tim Dillon have a problem with ICE.
Matching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Oh, well, sometimes there's collateral damage, Joe. You should be mad at Democrats, Joe. You should be mad at Democrats for putting a majority of their voters at risk. Because if it wasn't for Democrats allowing an open border and just, you know what, do whatever the F you want. I don't give a F. Joe Biden was asleep in the basement at noon with ice cream all over his shirt as he shit in his pants, and his wife is using his pen to sign everything as Hunter Biden sex traffics women around the globe. You're not mad at Democrats, but you're mad at President Trump and ICE. And I'm not exactly thrilled with Trump right now. But you seem to be blaming the wrong people here, Joe.
Yes. Yes, that is what we've come to. Yes.
Pretty quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Oh, well, it wouldn't come down to that if the politicians that get elected secure the border. So, Cry Me a River. Somebody got asked for their paperwork. Oh, you don't have it? Oh, well, sometimes accidents happen. Oh, well, carry your paperwork. You know what? I get told that all the time. Cops will tell you all the time, you need to have your license on you. What if you get stopped? It's always okay. See, it's always okay for American citizens to have this high standard placed on them from law enforcement and everybody else. But for illegals, you know what? We're going to Rogan and Dillon are going to cry their eyes out. They're going to attack hardworking ICE agents that put their lives on the line for their families, for the country, to make America a better place. And Rogan, the idiot, and Tim Dillon, the 450-pound Fed, I don't know what the deal is there. They want to attack ICE agents. Yeah, it makes sense. There's always like two, even in the Feds, there's Democrats, there's Republicans.
Someone is here, they should be able to stay in this country, and ICE is operating illegally, and we shouldn't have militarized groups of people.
ICE is not operating illegally, Joe. Joe, do you know anything, or you just make it? They're not operating illegally, Joe. The only people operating illegal are the illegals, Rogan. Maybe it was the pot, dude. Maybe it was the weed, man.
Roaming the streets, just showing up with masks on, snatching people up, some of them U.S. citizens, and shipping them.
That's not how it works. They don't just show up and snatch people off the streets. You get a sheet, you get a face, you get a name, you get an address, you get ID. They can ID you anywhere. You could walk into 7-Eleven, you get ID'd in 2 seconds. There's cameras everywhere, Rogan. There's cameras They're not just snatching innocent people off the streets. That's not how it works. They're getting printouts, person's face, name, address, aliases, tattoos, blah, 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 right down the list. And you know why so-called innocent people get caught up? Because they refuse to cooperate. And if they would have just showed their paperwork, they would have been on their way. Some of them have the paperwork on them and still refuse to produce it. But hey, let's blame the ICE agents. They're all backyard rustlers.
The countries they didn't even come from. So that's why they have to wear a mask. If you want them to do that job, if you want them to be able to deport 500,000 people over a year, which is a lot of people.
Yeah, they're not
the real
doing that.
number. You know, they're going to be, their life's going to be at stake. Yeah. You're not going to be able to get people to do the job unless you allow them to be anonymous. And then
I wouldn't be anonymous. I wouldn't wear a mask or be anonymous. You could roll up on me. You could threaten me all. You show up at my house, it's on. So I would do the job. Put me in charge of the FBI. I heard Nick Fuentes say this. Put me in charge of the FBI. He'd be locking up everybody. We are a country of laws. And without laws, we have anarchy. And what's going on in Minnesota is anarchy. What goes on in Chicago is anarchy. What goes on in New York is anarchy. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the bullshit. And it takes adults and strong men to solve the problems. And when you don't, your daughter can't walk down the street. I mean, Rogan, he's a karate, kung fu and all that other bullshit, right, Joe? You think you'd figure that out, Joe?
Again, allowing them to be anonymous creates a whole host of other problems.
All right.
Where you could have people pretend to be them, and how would you know who's who and who's not?
Here we go. That narrative is such a lie. That is the biggest lie that all the Dems tell. Oh, they just show up with masks on and they're just snatching people off the street. Before they get to that place, they're getting paperwork on the person they're identifying, looking for. They know exactly who they're looking for. Most of the time, they have spotters beforehand to spot the person. They get an idea of the person's routine. And then when they see the person, they'll pluck them off the street. So the person can't be in his house, nestled up or in a bunker or anything. So all this so-called snatching off the street is actually a calculated plan, which produces less violence, Joe. And the only idiots that are committing violence now are idiot liberal protesters, that think that some way, somehow, that being in the country is not against the law. It's just like mind-blowing. It really is. It's like everything that is good gets called bad, and everything that is bad gets called good and acceptable. You had that other idiot, Lemon, that went into the church trying to put the pastor on the spot, the congregation. Oh, like demanding that they should be out there protesting. Why should they risk their lives? They went to work all week. They paid their taxes. They followed the laws. And you want them to join anarchy? Don, hopefully one day, if you ever did that to my Pat. See, and I don't want to get too far off topic. This is the problem I have with Christians and Catholics. You just put up with way too much bullshit. When I was growing up in the Catholic church that I went to, if somebody like Don Lemon did that with a microphone, they would have beat his ass. And guess what would have happened? Nothing. Because the cops would have came, and you know what they would have did? They would have took Don Lemon by his collar, his shirt, walked him out, put him in the back of the car, and told him, you shouldn't have went in there and been disrespectful, and you wouldn't have that issue. But not in 2026. Right? Oh, he's gay. He's a black man that's gay, and we got to treat him with kids' gloves because we don't want him to say that he's racist. Meanwhile, he's disrespecting the entire church with children and putting everybody's life in jeopardy, getting the protesters and rioters stirred up to attack the church people. Like the church people are the problem because they're in church and they're not out there acting like a bunch of animals. Really? Really, Don? Don Lemon? Fuck, it's just like, dude, hey, Don, make sure you come to my church. I'll deal with you. I don't need anybody else's help. Trust me. By the collar, face first into the concrete, you would never come into the church again. Ever. Don't care what the cops said or did. It would really happen. And Trump, if you're watching this, lately, I don't know, you seem like you got your balls cut off. You seem like you're lacking testosterone. It seems like you're lacking energy. Benjamin Netanyahu's running you and controlling you and owning you. If you need me, as much as I'm mad at you right now, if you need me, I'll get a nice trim of the hair. I'll shave. I'll throw the suit on. I'll sit right next to you. I won't speak unless spoken to. And when Benjamin Netanyahu and the rest of that clown show comes in your office and making demands and being unreasonable and everything else, I will kindly, politely show them the door. Even if I got to grab them by the back of the shirt and bring them out into the parking lot for you, Trump, because obviously you're not the man anymore to do it. But I'll get into that later on a different, podcast episode, whatever you want to call it. Tonight I went live. I didn't I didn't schedule it beforehand. I'm having some technical problems. I have another channel. I got technical problems with that, technical problems with this one. Trying to take care of some things behind the scene, but eventually I'm going to get on a Monday to Friday schedule where I film at go live at a specific time. Excuse me. So I apologize. That'll be coming very quickly. I just got to take care of a few things behind the scenes. I appreciate everybody tuning in to Unbreakable. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros.